practicing on a client, before you go in with your colored powder, depending on what you are doing, you go in with clear powder. Clear is the highest concentrated form of acrylic, so it will help you with your acrylic retention. If you do this and you get your ratio to acrylic powder correctly, you will not have retention issues. You apply before, just a millimeter away from your cuticle, making sure there's no product on the skin, and then you apply that and blend toward the apex. You should be very light, if not it will make your acrylic application bulky. We'll start practicing with a 1 bead application. This is a large bead. I'll place it right before the cuticle. Don't place it on the cuticle, if not it will overflow. And then you gently pat that into your cuticle area, but do not place it on the skin, neither on the cuticles, just slightly before the cuticle, so you don't do acrylics and you are seeing like acrylics on your client's finger. Don't do that. This is a 1 bead application method. It's faster. That's the most advisable one, especially for a short and medium length nail. If it's like extra long nails, then you can now add maybe do a 3 bead application. You can even do 2 bead depending on the length before you have a proper 3 bead. If you notice, I always like to push back my cuticle before I go in with my acrylic. Now let's practice 3 bead. We'll be placing this in between our apex and the free edge to create like a depth, to give us an apex. Remember, your apex will give you a second bead, which is known as the free edge bead. You place that in between, and then you make sure you blend the attachment first where you had attached. Neatly blend that before you gently spread your acrylic. You spread very, very gentle. I fast forwarded the video, that's why it looks like I'm in a rush. You walk quickly, not too slow, but very gentle. This is our 3rd bead. If you realize, my client shook her hand a bit. That's why you have to tell them to be calm. She moved her hand, and then while I was trying to place it, it moved. But if you notice, I quickly went ahead to clean up the acrylics that had touched her skin. You don't want that dried. Can you see me cleaning the cuticle area? That's how you should use your brush, round it to make sure that you are not putting any product on her skin. And then I blend her in. You see how neat the application is. We'll go in again using a large bead to create another 1 bead application. I usually do 1 bead, that's what I'm teaching you all. But for a short nail like this, if I was doing 3 bead, I would be slow. Approximately, your acrylic application should take you 15 to 20 minutes, at most 30 minutes. But always take your time to make sure you are doing a 1 bead. It should take you less than 1 minute to finish 1 hand. Always remove the excess and clean your brush before dipping it into your monomer. If you take a look at my monomer, you realize that it's a bit, because I was trying to work fast because of the shoot, so I had dropped some powder into my monomer, but I went ahead to change it before I rounded up though. This is a 1 bead application method. If you realize, I only showed you 3 bead on 1 finger, and you see how much time it took just to do 1 hand, but this is like very fast. Always tuck it in. Do not lose your shape, the shape of your nail extension. If you lose your shape, you won't have a clean acrylic application. Make sure you do not lose the shape. If you notice, I keep tucking it in to make sure that I have a clean square shape. This is how easy it is. I wish you all luck. You see how smooth the application is? It's not rough at all. Yes, this is how it's done. Let's go into filing now. Remember that when filing, you have to check if it's properly dried before you start filing. If not, you smudge out your design and you have to start all over. I mean your acrylic, and you have to correct that. You file the corners to make sure you still have like a perfect square shape. Do not overload your acrylic. If it's too thick, the shape you would wobble the shape. If it's too thin, you file out the product. So you see me going in, making sure that it's smooth. And if you notice something, I'm not filing the cuticle area. Do not file the cuticle area using a manual file. You file out the person's skin. You file out the cuticle and matrix. Do not file out the cuticles with hand file. Use a drill, and that's why I'll be demonstrating it in this video. Use a drill. Do not lose your square shape. You see that I file and leave the cuticle area from the apex. I file toward the apex and I do not file the cuticle. Then make sure you do not lose your shape. File that gently in a one direction motion. You see me filing one way, either down, 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 or I'm going in the upper direction one way. Do not file back and forth. Remember, I went back in, filing in one direction. And then you see how neat this look. Remove the excess dust. Always dust off to see what you are doing. Dust off. After dusting off, I'm going in now with my electric drill, filing the cuticle area. If you notice, I'm not filing the skin. I'm going to send a video on how you can file very gentle, but I've already taught you the direction of how to use your drill. You do not file directly, it's slanted. If you notice, my bit is slanted. It's not directly going into the skin. You see how neat that is? I go around the nail in a dash motion, very gentle. I'm not filing her cuticle or skin. And then I go again round and gentle, smoothing and leveling the acrylics. If you notice, my application was already smooth and leveled. For those of you that will ask me that, oh, what if I don't have electric drill? What do I do and I really have to work? You need to get one. We'll be having very cheaper one in September in the store. But for now, if your acrylic is well leveled, trust me, you don't need to file the cuticles. It will be neat enough for you to work on after filing normal and toward your apex without filing the cuticles with a nail file. You see how gentle that is? I use the corner to smoothen the edge without touching the skin. So you make sure your shape is going round and then you buff out your design. After buffing out, use an acetone with a non-residue wipe to wipe off your matte coat before your design, and it's ready. Dust off, spray some alcohol on it, matte coat or top coat, or design before you top coat, and it's ready.